Do you think that America is a reliable partner for India?
This is the conflicting signals is absolutely something that one should be asking about, especially when you go from Biden administration to Trump administration, and you're like, what can we trust? Who can we rely on? And that's actually like a more fundamental question about just democracies in general. And it's not specific to the U.S., but that if you have a new leader, does that lead to such a big change in foreign policy that you can't really, they're not predictable. So I think that's a general critique. But in the case of going from Biden to Trump, yes, I think that this is a point of concern because what's interesting is, the Biden was in many ways, I labeled Biden, and this is probably, now that I think about it, I think this goes a long way towards why he's like, well, you know what, India's going to do this, but we're not going to worry too much about it. Is because I think Biden also, much more so than Trump, had kind of this realpolitik view of foreign policy. I often refer to Biden as his foreign policy view being realpolitik with a liberal internationalist flair. That he would talk a lot about liberal internationalism and the need for cooperation in institutions and so forth. But if you actually looked at what he would do and even things he would say at times, it was much more like, is this in the nation's interest? No, not really. Okay, we're going to move on. And also understanding that other countries are going to behave that way as well. Case in point that I think many would highlight would be the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. He's like, nope, this is not what we're going to do anymore. He had long wanted the U.S. to pull out of Afghanistan. Even when he was vice president, he wanted the U.S. to pull out. And of course, as vice president, he can't make that call. My understanding is that that was something he was very frustrated with Obama. But once he was president, that was one of the first things he did is we're going to follow through with this. We're not going to back out, even though it was Trump who signed the actual agreement to withdraw. He's going to do that. I bring that up to say that that is an example that people have pointed to of where Biden very much had this realpolitik view that like international politics is not about necessarily friends and foes per se. It is about nations following their interests and kind of having a tolerance for that. So I think that goes a part of the way towards why with India, he was like, look, India is doing what they think is in their best interest. And moreover, because Biden kind of had that it was very well known that Biden had a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise for foreign policy. That's why he was Obama's vice president.